So I am going to wait for everyone to start joining. I do want to say, hey cousin Jeanette, I do want to say that if you didn't hear me on Monica's post, I really want everyone that's in this space to be as comfortable as possible. So like I have a couple of blocks. I know not everybody has this in their house, but that's fine. I'm also sitting on a pillow. I would grab a blanket if you have blankets around. You can also do this sitting in a chair, this practice. And you can also do it laying in your bed, honestly, or sitting in your bed. The practice that we're going to move through is intended to help us ground and get centered. One of the things that I spoke about with Monica is really finding a space and a time, which it can be challenging right now. I mean, the world is constantly spinning and twirling. But finding a space and a time to sit with ourselves in as gentle of a space as we can, so that we can examine and walk through what's happening in this world with more clarity. I took a solid, I think, 4 months off from teaching when this whole pandemic started, and I had a very active practice, and I still do, but I did a lot of asana, I did a lot of power type yoga, and one of the things that I found was that stillness is everything that I needed. And so my stillness practice has gotten a lot stronger, and it's really helped me to move through this. So I will give everybody like another, let's say 60 seconds to just really get yourself comfortable. Again, pillows, blankets, all the things that make you comfy. You can do this seated on your mat, or you can do this sitting in a chair, sitting on your bed. Also, just a little sound check. I want to make sure this is my little solar plexus Tibetan singing bowl. It's adorable, but I want to make sure that you can hear it, so when meditation is over, you'll hear me ping you back in. So give me a heart or a thumbs up if you can hear this. Can you guys hear it? Okay, thank you, Sean. All right, awesome, I appreciate it. Okay, so let's take a moment to get centered. So find a seat that's easy for you. That could be seated cross-legged. That could be sitting in staff pose, legs straight out. Whatever is comfortable for you and your body in this moment. And when you find that seat and you feel comfortable, take just a moment and allow your eyes to close. So we'll start with moving through the breath just to connect to the body before we move into some gentle movement. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and then exhale everything out with an audible sigh. And do that again. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and then exhale everything out with an audible sigh. And continue to move through the breath that way. That audible sigh can be as loud or as quiet as you need. Just take a few moments here to connect with the breath. And then once you feel complete with that audible sigh, Go ahead and allow your mouth to close, and then just continue to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And while we sit here with the breath, I'd like to offer up a mantra, and it is simply just that, an offer. But the mantra is, I move thoughtfully. I move thoughtfully. And what that means is every interaction, every opportunity that we have, right, to partake in self-reflection, in change, how can we move through that thoughtfully? It's about 30 more seconds here with the breath. When you're ready, let that mantra go, and then allow your eyes to drift open. To start with this practice, we'll do some seated sun breaths. So for a seated sun breath, again, your seat can be cross-legged, and if you are cross-legged, I invite you to put the other leg on top, or your practice where your seat can be straight-legged. You'll bring your hands to your sides, and your palms can face forward or they can face down, whatever's comfortable for you. And on the inhale, you'll sweep your arms up and maybe gently look in between your hands. And on the exhale, sweep them back down. And that, for now, is the movement. Inhaling and allowing the arms to come up, and then exhaling and gently bringing them back down. And we'll move like this for maybe about a minute or two. Just allowing ourselves to wake the body up. Say hello to our spine and our shoulder joints. Let's do this maybe 5 more cycles of breath. And on this last cycle of breath here, when your arms come to the top, pause. And you'll take your right hand and bring it to your left knee. And then you'll take your left hand and bring that behind you. Now, if you're able to here, take a gentle twist and look over your shoulder. It is enough stretch to bring that arm behind you if you'd like, and bring this hand to your knee. And here in this twist, take a deep breath in and expand. Make your spine tall if you can. And then exhale. See if you have the space to twist a little deeper. And if you don't, again, this is simply an invitation. You can stay exactly where you are. One more deep breath in. Exhale out through the mouth, let it out go. And then on your next inhale, bring your arms up to center. Stretch for a moment, look between those hands. And this time you take your right hand and bring that behind you. Left hand to your knee here. And then twist on the opposite side. Whatever side you're on, twist to that opposite side. And again, this is something gentle, not meant to strain or contort the body, but again, just a way to connect. How does it feel to be in this twist? Take another deep breath in on the exhale. The offer is to see if you can twist just a little deeper. And then similar to the opposite side, deep breath in and then exhale everything out through the mouth, the side. And then one more deep breath here, and on the exhale, bring those arms back up to center. Exhale, bring them down to your sides. Throughout the practice, you'll hear me pause to cue you into a deep audible sigh. It is restorative and stimulating to the body. If you've ever been in a situation where you're stressed out and you just go, that's your body's way of telling your mind that everything is going to be okay. So the next pose that I'd like to move into is butterfly. There's a couple of ways that we can do this, and I always like to offer variations. So traditional butterfly, and it's difficult to see because of where my phone is, you bring your legs out as wide as you can, and then you would stretch and grab one foot or the other, or come and lay down or stretch to the center. Another variation on this butterfly is you can do half butterfly. You can bring one leg where the foot comes up against your thigh, and then you have the knee bent, and sometimes I'll put a block or a pillow or a blanket folded up under that bent knee. Take a moment to find the variation of butterfly that works for you. And I'm sorry, this is actually wide-legged forward fold. What I meant to say was a full butterfly is when you bring your feet together and you pull your heels in closer. But you can also do a wide-legged forward fold instead of either one of these. It really just depends on what's going on with your knees. So I'll be practicing in half butterfly. And here again on the inhale, sweep the arms overhead. And if you're in half butterfly, you'll come and you'll stretch and grab that extended foot. If you can't reach your foot, or if reaching your foot is not in your wheelhouse today, your ankle, your shin, literally wherever the body lands is perfectly fine. If you're in full butterfly, taking hold of the ankles, taking a deep breath in and extending through the spine, and then on the exhale, you forward fold. So this is typically considered a yin pose. And in yin, yin is a stillness practice that invites us to find our edge. And in finding the edge, you really, again, have to be thoughtful about how you're moving into a pose. So when you start, you go where your body is speaking to you, right? You don't want to overextend yourself because there's the potential for injury. You also want to take the opportunity to be in tune with your body. And also in yin, once you've been in the pose for just a moment, there's a part of the practice that asks you, is there room for you to go deeper? And of course, that's only a question that you can answer. But here I would ask that you take a deep breath in and then exhale and see what room that you might have to go deeper. And here, taking another deep, clearing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale everything out with an audible sigh. Here, if you're in half butterfly, gently walk your legs back up to center. If you're in full butterfly, gently walk your torso back up to center. When you come back to center, bring both of your feet back to the floor and just windshield wiper your knees and your hips. Bringing some movement back to your body here. And then if you did half butterfly, you'll move to the opposite side, bending the opposite knee. If you're in full butterfly, my invitation for you is to go back into butterfly, or you can sit in a meditative stance if you don't want to do this particular pose twice. So for those of you that are in half butterfly, deep breath in, hands overhead. Exhale, and again, keeping in mind that each side of our body is a little different, but making sure that you go where your body says it's okay to go. Deep breath in through the nose, and on the exhale, is there room to go a little deeper? Another deep breath in, and exhale it all out with an audible sigh. Take a moment to walk yourself back up to center if you're in half butterfly. Bring your legs back up to center. If you are in full butterfly, bring your feet back to the floor here. And again, just windshield wiping your knees and your hips. So we'll move through two more poses before I move us into a guided meditation. The next is just a seated pigeon pose. There are many variations of pigeon pose. I know that most yogis are traditionally coming into it through three-legged dog, breaking their knee in. But a seated pigeon pose can be just as energetic and just as good of a stretch. So in a seated pigeon pose, you would bring your feet flat to the ground, and then you would bring one ankle on top of your knee. Now for some people, this is plenty of a stretch. Like for me, I tend to have tight hips. This is all that I need. If for some reason you're like, I don't really feel any stretch, you can always take this opposite foot, lift it. You can also come flat to your back, taking that same pose, right? Whatever feels good. So take a moment to find that variation of pigeon, but I invite you to try it seated or laying down versus going through it from downward facing dog and bringing your leg through, and see how it's different but it's still the same. And while we sit in pigeon for a moment, a little bit reflective, one of the things that I invite everyone that's listening or watching to do, especially if you're a yoga teacher in this space, is to consider the fact that all bodies are different and all mobility is different, but it does not mean that it's not yoga. It's just a variation. And I use the word variation instead of modification, because sometimes the word modification can come off as less than or not exactly as, where it really is the same clothes. It's just a different variety. So just something to think about while you're seated here at pigeon. So here in this pigeon pose with that ankle on top of the knee, take another deep breath. And again, I'll cue the breath the whole practice. And see if a deeper stretch is here for you. If not, you stay right where you are. And then one more time here, deep breath in through the nose, exhale everything out, audible sigh. Gently and carefully take your time unraveling from this position. If you decided to move to your back, you can stay there to do the windshield wipers with your knees. If you're seated, take that seated windshield wiper with your knees. Again, this is just something that helps to loosen up the hips. And then move to the opposite side. If you're on the floor on your back, please feel free to stay there. I see a couple people amen in the variation. I have to say, I want to thank Giovanna Hyman, who teaches accessible yoga training, for putting that out in the world for me to accept and adopt. I went through an accessible yoga training at Sacred True West, of course, and it was extremely powerful to learn how much ableist language is embedded in the way that we speak. And a lot of times we don't know that we're using it. And I'm actually married to a person that has a different mobility or is disabled. And the conversations that we've also had in regards to person-first language, has really opened my eyes in how to speak. And again, making sure that it's an inclusive practice. So taking a deep breath in and exhaling, allow the body to speak to you and see if there's room to go deeper. And then here, take another deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out with that audible sigh. And then come up and bring your feet to the floor. Again, if you're on your back here, you can stay there for just a moment and allow your knees to go from side to side, left to right. And from here, I'd really like to move into a guided meditation. So for those who have not done a guided meditation, just a quick housekeeping. I will talk you through the breath and different visualization points. Guided meditation sometimes can go a little deeper than typical mindfulness or silent meditation, in that I'm asking you to visualize or think on certain things, right? I always use safe space sort of language. It comes from a trauma-informed place. And just know that the invitation is you can do this with your eyes closed or open with a soft gaze to the ground, whatever makes you feel comfortable in this space. So for this meditation, you can do it seated. You can do it laying down. I love doing guided meditation laying down, y'all. Like, it's the best thing. So you can do it seated or you can do it laying down, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Take a moment to figure out what is comfortable. It will be at least 15 minutes, so if you're seated, my advice to you is maybe find a wall where you can sit back and support, or if you're on your couch or in a chair. And then if you're laying down, think about maybe having a blanket. You know, sometimes that feels like an extra, like a weighted support on you. And give it about 30 seconds and then we'll get started. Okay, so once again, I will invite you to either close your eyes or take a soft gaze at the ground, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And we'll start by taking a clearing breath. So take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale everything out with a sigh. And here for just a moment, take some time to focus on the breath. Really connect with how the belly rises and falls with each inhale and exhale. Connect with how the rhythm and the body of the rhythm of the body and the breath, are one, right? And in this practice, we'll ask that you use the breath as an anchor. So if any time you find yourself wandering or drifting, think about that rhythm of the body expanding and collapsing with the inhale and the exhale. So I will start a countdown from 10 to 1. And when we get to 1 will be where we'll be in a state of deep meditation. If at any time it feels uncomfortable to go too deep, please feel free to stay connected to your breath and stay on the surface. Starting with 10. Noticing the body in the space where you are, whether that be on the bed, on the earth, seated. Notice how your body connects to the earth. 9. Think about the room that you're in, the safe space, the container, right? Visualize in your mind's eye your body connected to the earth in the space that you're in. Eight. Take a moment to notice the mind as we start to become still and not move. Sometimes the mind starts to become more active, and that's okay. The goal here is to be able to sit with that active mind and allow the opportunity for clearing and connection. So if at any time the mind starts to drift or wander, bring it back with that anchor of the breath. Or you can maybe have a mantra. I move thoughtfully was what I offered earlier. 7. Start to imagine a place and time where you felt safe and held. This could be past, present, or future. Six. What connections do you have to that place and time? Is it smell? Is it a person? Is it a building or a memory? Call that thing into the space that keeps you held and comfortable. 5. Once you've cultivated that space, begin to imagine that those feelings start to generate a light. The light is tiny, warm, and sweet. And it radiates through your whole body. 4. Knowing that you're here in the safe space, and again, feeling held. Where can you let go? Where are you holding on? Is there tension in your body? Are you clenching your jaw? Allow the tension in your body to fall away and melt as you become one with the earth. 3. Two. And 1. Here in this restful place, know that you are safe and protected. And in this place, whatever it is that you've cultivated, this space of warmth and light, imagine off in the distance you see a familiar face. And you start to walk towards this familiar face, warm and inviting. And as you get closer, you realize that you are looking at a reflection of yourself sometime at some point in the future. And you greet this future version of yourself warmly with love and admiration. And the two of you find a place to sit and talk and have a conversation. Take a moment here to just sit and listen. what is it that your future self has to say to you? What message or what lessons? As you sit with yourself and listen to the stories and the lessons unfold, you start to breathe with more ease because you realize that you have made it through the other side of this. And with love and admiration, and kindness and gentleness, you and your future self share in an embrace. And the warmth and the peace from that embrace, again, you feel radiate through your whole being. And as it's time to say goodbye, you know that you carry with you the wisdom of your future self, of your present self, of even your past self. And you start to move back to that space, that protective space, that safe space. Allow your mind to settle in on the message and the peace that it brought you. As I slowly begin to bring you back to the present space, and we have all the time. Just know that these feelings of peace, of love, of admiration are yours to claim whenever you need them. Starting to count from 1. The feeling of peace and love that you felt and is rating as a light starts to become a little bit smaller. 2. It starts to become, again, one with the body and the breath. 3. Begin to notice again in this safe space the scenery, the smells, the people, the places, so that they are always in your mind's eye. You can go back to them whenever you need. 4. Start to visualize yourself in the physical space now. Whether that was lying on your bed or sitting in an upright position. 5. Start to notice, remember the room that you are in the present space. in your mind's eye, remember what those 4 walls look like. 6. Start to connect again with the breath. The rhythm of the inhale and the exhale, the rise and the fall. 7. Begin to feel the physical body in this space. Maybe it feels heavy with the weight of peace and calm. 8. Very gently begin to bring movement back to your body. Just wiggling your fingers and toes. Very tiny, tiny movements, remembering that you have a body. 9. Take a moment to move your head from side to side, left to right, whether you're laying or sitting. Again, just connecting again to the physical presence of your body. 10. Stretching your arms overhead and your legs out in front of you. Again, either seated or laying down. Bringing that movement back to your body. And then if you're laying down, maybe roll over to one side. Here just for a moment. Taking these last few moments to really feel the peace and the blessings of the message that came on the wings of your future self. And if you're not already, press yourself up to a seated position. If you have been seated this whole time, just take a moment to switch out the cross legs. And similar to how we began, we will end with clearing breaths. So take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale everything out with an audible sigh. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale everything out with an audible sigh. One last time, take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale everything out with an audible sigh. Bring your hands to heart center. If it is in your practice, I would love to end with an Om. If it's not, please just allow the vibration of the Om to sit with you. Deep breath in through the nose. Take a moment to bow your head to yourself, to your inner teacher. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this space with you today. It's been my pleasure. Namaste. Thank you everyone so much for allowing me to cultivate this space for you and for practicing here with me. To Sean and to Monica, thank you so much for this platform. You are truly transforming so many lives. I hope to see some of you either on my Instagram page or I love you too, Monica. Either on my Instagram page or I'll add a link to my site in my profile. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm so glad that this was a grounding practice for so many of you. I really hope that the words that I said resonated with you. Please consider carrying out the work of building truly inclusive places for all people, all beings, and don't allow yourself to get fatigued. We have a long way to go, but we're going to get there together. Again, it has been my pleasure. Thank you so much. Namaste.